If you've ever felt guilty about not doing enough to help your aging parents with their care, you're not alone. Welcome to inHom Senior Care. My name is Vitaly. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be diving into this topic of how adult children, especially daughters, feel about being the one to make sure that mom and dad have all their needs met. After more than 20 years in home care, this is one of the most challenging aspects of not only providing care, but just being in that space, being in that sphere of like, I need to do more. My parents deserve the best and I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna do what's needed. And so the guilt factor that exists, the guilt that we carry with us as a caregiver, whether we identify ourselves as that or not, is something that's very real. Myself, I've been in this space for over 20 years, as I've said, and I started out fairly young, but in the last 15 years or so, I've actually been a caregiver, and currently my mom, who lives on her own in an apartment but has caregivers, and I get to feel that guilt as well, because there's many times where we have conversations and there's something that my mom needs and I can't quite get over there and I feel bad about it. So we'll talk about some of the reasons why people feel this way and what some of the things that we should look at and think about what's real and what do we need to really reframe our mind on. So number one reason why aging or children of aging adults feel guilty is that they feel like I should be able to do this myself. And sometimes the older generation will actually make statements like, well, when my mom needed care, I just stepped up and did it. Like, we just moved her into our house. And whatever those statements are. And so that can kind of land in our lap as like, well, I mean, why aren't you doing that? Well, that can build on top of that guilt. And so that feeling of I should be able to do this myself, that internal pressure of this is my responsibility, they took care of me, they raised me. Many daughters feel caregiving should be done personally and it shouldn't be delegated. It's such a high trust endeavor. We certainly don't want other people raising our kids, and so in some ways we feel like we should be not allowing other people or not delegating the task of caregiving to other people. Reframing this and helping you to understand it better is that caring for someone doesn't mean that you have to be the one to do it all alone. And I know that can be hard, and it especially can be hard depending on the mindset you grew up with, right? A lot of people grow up with a mindset of like, we don't hire people, we just do things for ourselves. It's those other people that hire help and we just do things for ourselves. So number two reason the guilt exists or people carry guilt is that the fear of letting down your parents. You feel like you're gonna fail them or you are failing them because you're not stepping up and you're not doing that work yourself. So you worry that your parents will feel abandoned, they're gonna feel replaced, or they're going to feel hurt that you don't love them enough to actually do the things they need yourself, that you're actually going to engage someone else. Bringing in help doesn't replace you. Okay, so think about that. It doesn't replace you, it supports you. It allows you to be a better version of you with the things that you will do with them. So it's allowing you to remain the daughter and allowing you to have that relationship. So when you come over, it's being able to have a meal or being able to have a cup of coffee and actually talk and engage instead of coming over and then like, okay, let's strip the bed, let's do this, let's wash your linens, let's get this done. And in reality, the connection is not really there because everything is task oriented and you're running around. So the caregivers can help support that daily load of the things that just need to be done, right? The tasking, the task list, and you can focus on the relationship and you can make sure that you drive the care and so that it's being performed in a way that you would like, but you are not the one that have to do all that, so that by the end of that visit, you're actually more exhausted and you feel like you're less connected. I mean, that's just the reality. So number three reason is sometimes there's cultural or family expectations. I've already kind of alluded to it, to where your parents have a plan. Well, maybe they do. Maybe in their mind, like you were the plan. They never told you, but you were the plan. Like our daughter, our youngest daughter, I mean, that's a lot of times culturally is what it is. It's like the youngest daughter is going to be the one that will help us in our later years. But that conversation never really happened and no buy-in happened. In other words, there weren't some specific conversations about how this might actually work out or what it might actually look like. And in some families, outside help is just not what we do, right? Again, I've kind of alluded to that, but it's the idea that we do things ourselves. We're proud of our own independence. Like, we take care of our own. When something breaks, we fix it. We don't hire people to do that. Think about that. And then the unspoken expectations or the judgment. And like I said before, when my mom needed help, we just stepped up and did it. I did whatever was needed. I did whatever it took. And so that sort of expectation is laid on you in spoken or unspoken fashion, or maybe a little passive aggressive little conversations that happen that heap on the guilt. And you're like, man, what am I doing wrong? Why does this feel so weird, right? Again, to make this more normal for you and to help you reframe your mind, you're not failing tradition, you're adapting to a new reality. So some of that reality is that most people start families later in life and they have their kids. And so we talk about this, what's kind of been coined as the sandwich generation, so that by the time the aging generation needs help, a lot of the adult kids are having kids of their own, or maybe they're teenagers, whatever age they're at, but they're typically very busy. They're involved in sports, they're involved in a lot of other things. And so the daughter may feel very, very strained in trying to help her parents as well as trying to serve her own family. And we all only have 24 hours in a day, and you can't get it all done. Understanding that reality. The other part of this is that people used to live closer to each other. So sometimes families would live even literally across the street or down the block from one another. And now a lot of times people are scattered not only within suburbia of the same city, but a lot of times they're actually, or at least some of the siblings might be living in different parts of the country. And so that adds to that complexity, because some of that care or some of that help can't really be shared. And so it sometimes falls on the one person that may be the closest. Here's kind of the truth about all this. We're all human beings, and we have a limit to our ability of what we can provide. When we talk about burnout, we talk about what actually happens when somebody gets to the end of themselves and they can't function normal anymore. You are not going to be a better caregiver because you push yourself to the level of burnout. So exhaustion leads to frustration, and that affects the relationship. So caregivers, a lot of times, especially spouse caregivers, this will happen is they're doing their best, they're putting their best foot forward, and at some point they start to notice themselves that they're getting short with their loved one, with their wife or their husband. Their frustration starts to come through their conversations. They have an outburst, and so then that guilt even piles up even more, because now they feel bad, because not only do they feel bad because they feel like they're failing, but now they feel bad because they were just mean to their loved one because of that burnout factor. So support will actually help you, will allow you to stay present and do a much better job, because you will be a better version of yourself to your loved one, because you're not acting out of exhaustion and desperation, but you're actually showing up with your A game. Part of, like, even in a care scenario, when we're providing care, when we do 24-hour care, for example, like a lot of companies look at this differently, and some companies will actually put a caregiver in for like a 3, 4, 5, 7-day stint, because on the one hand, most families will say, well, we don't want a lot of caregivers, we want less caregivers. And so there's that motivation. But on the flip side of that, like, think of that caregiver that's been in the home and has been caregiving for 7 days straight. Are they at the top of their game? Are they fresh and excited and just bubbling over with energy to help your loved one with whatever needs they have? So we staff differently. We staff an overnight shift, and typically there's 2-day shift. Again, every client is different and every care scenario is going to be unique. But there's a rhyme and reason to why we prefer this method, is because when the caregivers are showing up, they're rested. They're on their A game, and they're doing what needs to be done without being kind of stale and having been in there and not sleeping in their own home for over a week, and we're expecting them to perform amazing. So again, caregiving it's not like standing at a factory line where you're exhausted, you're on your feet all day. There's a lot of breaks, but at the same time, just the mental energy that somebody has when they're on for that long versus when they're coming into a shift and working, 8-10 hours, something like that. So support allows you to stay present as a daughter and not just be the caregiver. And the goal isn't for you to do everything. The goal is to make sure that they get good quality care. Start to think about that in your own mind, because guilt is a major factor. It drives a lot of things, and family caregivers really struggle with guilt, and I'm there too. I understand it very much. My mom will make a phone call to me and will say, well, I asked you for batteries yesterday. Are you going to bring them over today? I'd say, well, no, I'm going to bring them over in 2 days when I stop by to visit. Well, I'll have to wait 2 more days for those batteries. And so it's subtle, but that guilt is wedged in there. Like, I need my batteries today. It's a life and death sometimes. So as a family caregiver, you will feel that guilt. And so my goal is to help you to say it's okay to not feel that, and to know that you're doing your best, and to bring in care that is outside of you yourself, and the hours that you spend there will actually help you to be a better caregiver. Because when you do come over, you're actually going to be more present. You're going to have a better conversation. Maybe you can even take mom out and you can go have lunch somewhere, and that will be a much more meaningful experience than showing up and just doing busy work and then feeling like, man, I'm more burnt out and more spent, and I didn't hardly even talk to mom when I came over and just did all the things. We'd love to talk with you. We'd love to schedule a no cost, no obligation visit. Come out and just visit, help you better understand who we are, and help you to know that help is available. Whether we're the provider or there's a better solution, we'll help you sort that out too. But anyway, I hope you got something out of this. Please comment, ask for topics if you're interested in seeing something else and something different. And we will see you in the next one. Take care.